Hello, I'm Gill Fielding, and this is what's caught my eye in the media this week. Well, first of all, I see that Elon Musk has sold 10% of his shares in Tesla, and this is as a result of a Twitter poll that he decided to do. And 3.5 million people voted for him to sell shares. So he put a question on there, should I sell my shares or not? 3.5 million people voted and decided that he should. And blow me down, he did. Apparently, some of the shares were part of a normal sales process, but nonetheless, he did sell 10% of his holding in Tesla. And this is something to do with a US tax law where he had to pay a tax bill. But I was intrigued by it because when you start asking the public and telling the public things that you might want to do, they do tend to come up with all kinds of bizarre things. So, for example, the British polar ship that the public decided would be called Boaty McBoatface. And in the end, the organisers decided to call it Sir David Attenborough, which is a bit of a shame in some ways. But I admire Elon Musk for actually putting it out there, because when you do make a big statement and leave it in the hands of others, what you're doing is you're publicly acknowledging a goal, an objective, and actually coming out and saying something quite radical turns your whole physiology around to actually making it happen. So although I don't think I'd quite do what Elon Musk has done, I think we all from time to time could say something quite radical about what we want to do or what we want others to help us with. And you never just know, it might actually happen. So go big today, say something big today, see what happens. The second story I read this week was about how COVID plays with your mind, or maybe it doesn't, because I was reading about 10% of people are now regretting lockdown purchases. And apparently, on average, they have £1,400 worth of hot tubs, kitchen equipment, DIY equipment, health equipment, gym equipment that they're now regretting that they bought. And on the other hand, we know that there are millions of people that have saved huge amounts during lockdown. So it turns out that COVID is just like everything else and every other normal day. There are people that will splurge financially, spend whatever they have to buy stuff they don't necessarily need. And there are others that will always save and squirrel their money away. And that's quite interesting because it's a mindset thing, whether you're a splurger or a squirrel, it's a mindset thing. So let's all get prepared to be a compromise, because what I like to suggest is that we all follow the financial five a day, the five financial theories that we should all follow. One of those is about budgeting. So how about we budget for splurge items? And then you have financial control and maintenance, and you know what you're doing with your money, but then you don't necessarily regret the purchases afterwards, because you're planning financially and planning what to spend. So it is possible to be a compromise of both. So if you're a splurger or a saver, let's think about getting more balance in your financial life. Look at the financial five a day, and then you won't regret that purchase of the hot tub, I guess. Although I think some charities are welcoming lots of hot tubs at the moment. Of course, one of the big stories this week was about care workers and the NHS workers having to be vaccinated. As I have a relative in care, I want them all to be vaccinated because I want my relative to be protected. But it got me to thinking about, for example, the NHS workers who have to be jabbed by next April. And I'm thinking to myself, is there a person working in the NHS, for example, a nurse or a doctor, who is jabbing people, giving vaccinations to people that they wouldn't have themselves? And that, to me, is out of integrity. I've got a bit of a problem with that, because if you're not prepared to have the jab yourself, you shouldn't be jabbing other people. And also within the NHS, if these people don't want to be vaccinated, it kind of implies that they don't believe their boss or their directors. And again, that leads me to an integrity issue. And in that case, if you don't believe your boss, you don't believe your directors, you don't believe what your organisation is doing, and you wouldn't do it yourself, I wonder why you're actually working there, because that feels like it's out of integrity to me. And you know, I have lots of issues with the sleaze that's going on in the government again. And I think if you're holding a public appointment, then I think you have to stand and be counted. So with the NHS workers, if you're not prepared to have the jab, don't do the jab. And I don't think you should be working there. And of course, that's really, really important to me as a business owner and as an individual. One of my core values is integrity. So nobody can work for Fielding Financial as a coach, a trainer, a mentor, or anything without being a property investor first, because that would be out of integrity. How can they possibly tell anyone else how to do it if it's not something they've done themselves? So I'm a firm believer in integrity. I know a lot of financial education institutions don't have the same value, which is a shame, but we at Fielding Financial do. Everybody that teaches, trains, mentors, coaches has done what they're telling other people to do. So NHS workers, let's step up to that standard. And finally, I had a bit of a philosophical dilemma this week because I started to debate in my own mind whether money making was a moral issue or not, and whether making money is something that would be approved of by whoever your God might be. Because I read about a wonderful person called Matt Bird. Matt Bird, just wanted to check his name. And he works with churches and parishioners to start businesses to make them wealthy. Now, I think he's a religious person himself. I think he's a vicar or a rector or something. And his philosophy is, when lockdown started, he wanted to help give food parcels to people that were struggling. And then he thought to himself, well, rather than give them one food parcel that would last them a couple of days, why don't I teach them how to be an entrepreneur and start a business, and then they can feed themselves forever? And of course, that's a fantastic sentiment. So he now runs courses for churches, parishioners, all kinds of religious institutions to teach the people how to be entrepreneurs and business owners. And isn't that a wonderful thing? I think that's beautiful that somebody has been able to bring together the issues of money and religion. And you can do both. Whoever your God might be, I'm sure wants you to be the best possible person you can be. And if that means being a moneymaker, well, I think that's well and good. So well done, Matt Bird. I appreciate what you're doing. Lots of other people should do it, because too many people say you can't make money and be a religious person at the same time. Of course you can. Of course you can. And of course, a lot of money makers then do give lots of money away to good causes. Making money doesn't make you a bad person, as Matt Bird has obviously demonstrated. So good on you, Matt. I appreciate everything you're doing, and keep going. Well, that's it for this week. Keep safe, everybody. See you next time.